Wait no longer. Our Doom, the Dark Ages review has arrived. Welcome to the trophy room, where usually me and my co-hosts here talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. Yet today we were provided a code for Doom, the Dark Ages by Bethesda and Xbox, but our thoughts are our own. With that said, we have beaten the game. We've both rolled credits, and we're here to talk about our thoughts, our feelings on the game, from combat, from some of the more controversial choices, all that in between, everything spoiler free. So when we talk about story, going to be extremely vague. In fact, it's going to be only like a sentence long. So don't worry about that. That said, this is id's trilogy of their new Doom. And we've gotten Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, Doom the Dark Ages being the prequel, the thing that sets up for 2016. That said, Kyle Stevenson, your initial thoughts of Doom the Dark Ages before we get right into it.
I'll be brief because we're gonna expand on it.
Yeah,
So,
because I want to know your feelings like walking into this.
walking in, but
Yeah,
so
sorry.
without got it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was excited, right? Like I didn't play Doom a whole lot when I was younger. I didn't play the older ones really. I was later in life when I picked them up and played and enjoyed them. So when I played Doom 2016 for the trophy room when we started, it was just like I think we had a down month in like games, and I was
Yeah.
like, let me just try it out. Let me see what all the fuss is about, because I see it and I'm like, it's too fast paced for me. I can't handle the fast paced kind of first person shooter, twitchy kind of movements, whatever. And I fell in love with it. Then Eternal came out and I gobbled it all up. Granted, it was also the pandemic. We were at home,
Sure.
so I played every ounce of it, and the only thing I have left are the multiplayer trophies, and I have that platinum. So, I'm loving this new iteration of Doom a whole lot. So walking in, I was expecting a ton of fun with great guns, and for the most part, that's what we got.
Yeah. For me, I've always been intrigued by Doom. In the early 90s, it was something that I wasn't allowed to play because I was just a wee little kid. But it was something that was like the loophole in the house is that I get to watch my brother play these games, which somehow is different. So it was always something that I looked at afar of something I couldn't have. But then Doom 2016 rolls around and I instantly fell in love with this game, this series. Then Eternal came around again during the pandemic when we only thought it was going to be 2 weeks, and I platted it in a week. I love Doom Eternal. Hot take, it's my favorite in the series up until Doom the Dark Ages, which we'll talk about that in a sec. Or maybe not, who knows. But it is one of my favorite shooters franchises out there. So Doom the Dark Ages, I knew was gonna be a fun time. And I'm not asking for much when it comes to Doom. I'm just here to give me those guns, give me the gore, give me that action, that fast-paced feel, and make me feel like the unstoppable force. So let's get right into what makes Doom Doom. Let's talk about the combat. More importantly, the weapons. There are 12 of them. All of them are a whole lot of fun. Talk to me about the weapons, Kyle. Talk to me about the combat. How did
Oh
you
my
like it?
god. Oh my god. This is why I love this game. Is the gunplay and the combat are incredible. The dual sense haptic feedback
Ooh.
is nothing short than phenomenal. I found myself using all of them a ton, and like especially with some of the more tougher fights, I would constantly be switching guns throughout the whole fight. Like there was not a gun that I didn't use regularly. Um, some were better than others, but I want to shout out that Ravager so much.
Oh my goodness. It's
That's
the
the
gun
gun
that
with
you
the gut
see.
skull crushing gun that uses the shards of skull as bullets.
Yeah.
And oh boy, when you get that thing revved up fully and it's
Yep.
fully charged and you're just laying waste the demons that are in front of you. There is no better feeling in a game that I've played this year than that moment right there.
And honestly, not even just like the feel of the dual sense. I played on my Edge controller, so I
Mhm.
get the, the buttons in the back. For me, it was the sounds that each one of these weapons make. It just every weapon feels crunchy, and there's something about the pulverizer and Ravager that it's just like you're turning these guys into pudding. And the great thing about the weapon system and the upgrade system is it's not as deep as in like, oh, here's this big RPG tree. They're rather simple upgrades that just make the gun somehow even more badass over time while giving you options as to, okay, do I want, for example, do I want my shotgun to cause burn damage that drops me shields, or do I want to use it to make it so that it reloads faster or whatever have you, right? Or shoots faster, whatever, or burst shots. And then you get down to like the melee combat, which I mean, let's just talk about that for a second.
Sure. Before we get to that, though, the thing that with the upgrade system with the weapons,
Yeah,
um, I didn't. Once I upgraded to one, I never changed. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I didn't experiment too much because I didn't feel like I needed to. Granted, there is freedom there, um, and you don't need to like waste the upgrade point on and get locked out of the other one. You can freely switch between the two whenever you
yeah.
want. Um, but once you find one that works, and because it's so fast paced, I didn't feel a need to switch it up.
Yeah. It sounds cliche, but it does feel like, at least for me, there was always an option for which type of playstyle I typically go for.
Hmm.
So I am the run and gun in your face. I'm not here to think, I'm just here to shoot. So
Sure.
like
Yeah.
anything that would give me extra armor, I
Yep.
was always going for.
Yep.
So like when we
Agreed.
see those type of weapon abilities, those are the type of abilities I'm doing to make me even more aggressive. And
Hmm.
that even goes down to like melee combat. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
have your fist, but you also have a kick-ass flail, which was my personal favorite, and
Yep.
then a dumb giant club
Yeah.
that you get to wail on folks. And the thing that they want you to do in Doom the Dark Ages is constantly switch from guns to melee, right? So like you'll run out of, bullets in your gun and then you melee folks to get that whether it's armor or ammo back.
Hmm.
The flail does some really cool stuff when it comes to ripping armor off of enemies, where the giant club is only one use, and once
But
you hit one
it's
guy with it, they're donezo.
well, it's not even just that. Once you hit them with one hit,
Yeah.
um, you get all your ammo back for
Yeah.
everything, which is what my go-to was at the end because there's some really big, huge fights that you're a part of, and especially if you're going to go for like the mastery of each weapon or whatnot, that was very invaluable to make sure I can keep using these mobs
Yeah.
as a way to up that. So
Yeah. For me, I love the constant switching from melee to shooting to then using the shield to just shield bash through all
yeah,
these just
and that's the thing,
fields
right?
of
You
folks.
would think that a shield would be one of the melee combos on your R3 stick.
Hmm.
It is not. It's like another melee that you need in a pinch if you want to throw it. And I think my favorite part of the shield, and we'll get into more of it in a bit, but I love using, I forgot which gun is it called, but like essentially the um assault rifle version
Sure.
in Doom.
The
There's
shredder. There you
the
go. Yeah.
shredder, yeah, yeah. There's an ability that you can add pincushion to enemies, and they would start glowing, and they have all these like glowing yellow things sticking out of them. And then once you get to that point, if you throw the shield into them, it blows them up for extra damage and like more area of effect kind of damage from people around you, which I found super invaluable.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like a certain weapon in God of War Ragnarok.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Maybe that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's also like a lot of like there's a lot of things that this game takes from games like God of War Ragnarok. The shield being one of them,
yeah.
where you get to throw it, and if you like the hit, it gets very Steve Rogers-esque where it bounces off a whole bunch of folks.
Mhm.
But you can also recall it as well, like it is, the axe in God of War, which I really liked. Let's talk about the shield, Kyle,
Yeah, let's talk
because
about
when I was first when we were first introduced to the shield, they're like, this game is about standing your ground. They always want each Doom game to feel different from the past one. They don't want to just stick to the same formula, though it's still feeling and having that Doom DNA. When they said stand your ground, I got very nervous because I loved how Eternal was so run and gun. How did the shield change that for you?
this is tough for me.
Uh-oh.
Because while I do like the shields for like those like combo abilities or whatnot,
Yeah.
I miss the chain shot so badly on the
Okay.
shotgun from Eternal.
Yeah.
I miss those other kind of traversal stuff from Eternal uh, that we had. I think the shield is fine to me. It
Okay.
wasn't crazy. You say stand your ground, which is true. I rarely used it outside of parrying, right? Like I wasn't
Really?
blocking any
Okay.
other incoming projectiles. I was just tanking it because I
Mm.
had other abilities that would constantly give me armor. So like
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to kind of block. Um I was parrying like crazy, but it wasn't like I'm sure you're seeing it on Joe's gameplay right now, but like the regular bullets, I didn't feel the need to block. I just
Ooh,
kind of
oh,
ran around and
okay.
hid
I
behind
was
obstacles if I had to, if I was like
yeah,
looking for health or whatever, but I wasn't like blocking really all that much.
I was blocking constantly.
Great.
And I was not just blocking, but using my shield almost, if not even more than my gun at times. I loved using it as just a great stun. So one of the things that you're seeing in this gameplay is like, if you got a bigger, enemy that you're attacking, throw that shield on them, and then you're able to close the gap. And I just use my super shotgun and I just literally close the gap on them and blow them away.
Sure.
You see these shield enemies, and I'm like, ooh, what happens if I throw my shield at them?
Oh,
And you
I
just
did that a
break the
ton.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did that
like
a ton.
that's fun. Even like, they introduced these more armored enemy types, and being able to just break their armor with the shield hit and then just go in. I was using it constantly. And it was also a really good get out of jail free card where if I was getting overrun, I would take my shield, I would look at the furthest enemy out there, and I would shield charge to them to get
Mm,
space. And that was a great way. So like the shield, I was scared it was going to hinder the speed of Doom,
sure.
but it just changed the veracity at which I fought. And I
I
love
I
that
get
shield so
I
much.
guess the way you're describing it is how I used it,
Yeah.
but to I guess this was a hang up for me. I used it as an offensive thing and not a defensive thing,
Oh yeah.
right? So like maybe that was just my hang up with it because
Mhm.
granted you do need it for the parries, but
Yeah.
there was never a moment where I was worried about getting hit by incoming projectiles because I was
Mm-mm.
not blocking. I was just running around and shooting and
Yeah.
like organically gathering things because of my gun's abilities. So,
Yeah.
but offensively, the shield's great. It's very versatile.
Very versatile. And that's what I one of the biggest things is when you get into the second half of this game and you get introduced to more of these variants of enemies, um and get more projectiles on screen, there is just such a dopamine hit of just parrying, throwing the shield, parrying, like you're being offensive but you're being defensive. If does feel like the Thanos versus Captain America fight where he's utilizing the hammer and the shield at the same time. That's what it was evoking those feelings of. I just felt like an absolute badass. And
Yeah.
for PlayStation players out there, for those of you who've played Returnal, you could see that this game was definitely inspired by some of those ooblets we saw in Returnal gameplay, where instead of here you're trying to dodge them, you're trying to parry them into the bosses or parry them into the bigger enemies. And when I was first encountered by one of those enemies, I'm like, I'm gonna love this game. This is evoking such Returnal vibes that I absolutely love. So it's great to see that they're like, yeah, no, we love Doom, but we also have some other strong influences as well. That said, the map to me, all
Well,
right, Xbox
just
fans, go for it.
really
Yeah.
quickly.
Any last words?
My favorite thing about the parries specifically, you can slide it if you want a better opening and timing. So if you're afraid of not being able to parry, there are really great settings that you can make it easier for a lot of this game if you feel like you need to. So even though I was playing, I think on the standard difficulty,
Same.
I made the parry a little bit tougher because I found it too easy.
Yep.
Um, but you can make that as hard as you want, as easy as you want, which I really, really love.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you get later in the game and you unlock shield runes, and those runes will then give you special abilities if you successfully parry. And I thought all of those were sick. I love
Yes.
those. Like they're my favorite one was you parry and then an auto turret comes on your
Yep.
shoulder and just auto targets and you feel like a god.
I
There's
you
other
I
ones that are like shockwaves, you throw like holy lances. Like
yeah, it's
there's
like
I think there's five and
yeah.
they all feel great and are cool and they give that kind of instant gratification of after you parry something cool happens.
It gave me strong Predator vibes. I absolutely loved it. So that said, let's talk about the level design because that was another thing I was super nervous about. Uh, it's more of a hub world, so akin to, for lack of better words or analogies, kind of like a Halo hub area, right? Maybe taking like little parts of Infinite, put them here. Um, these hub worlds, for me, this is the evolution I wanted to see out of this game. I
Oh,
was
okay.
afraid for it, because I was afraid that it would take the feeling of what makes Doom, that corridor shooter that we all love. But truthfully, I think they did a good job mixing and matching the linearity levels that we know and love with these hub worlds that, for me, still felt very Doom. And just, finding the little secrets, whether it's like, here's this little wolf puzzle and you break one of the wolves and it unlocks like a little gem, but when you do that, it also unlocks a little mini area for you to fight in, or like you run into little traps or little puzzles you have to find. I don't know why. It spoke to me. And I really loved the level design here. Well, what did you think?
I had favorites. There were
Okay.
others that I didn't love. Um Especially like when you are looking at the map. The map reminds me a lot of Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, where it's
Ooh. All right, better analogy.
not the best in the world.
Yeah.
Um because there's a lot going on, it's kind of tough to see even if you're zoomed in and whatnot. I do appreciate that they do label where all the secrets are, which then in turn drove me nuts when I finished a level and I couldn't find one. And when I found it finally, I was like, "This is dumb."
Yes.
We'll get to that in a second. Um, but yeah, I thought the levels were fine. Nothing like crazy. They did remind me a lot of just Eternal, but kind of like blew up a little bit.
Mhm.
With some of those hubs in Eternal. The one thing that I didn't love because just felt weird. Um, there's a traversal mechanic where you would throw your shield up into like this green ooze thing,
Yeah.
and then you press the shield button again, and you like automatically jump up. The jump just felt weird to me.
Yeah, very odd.
Was it my favorite? And it actually caused me to like fall to my death a couple times because it wasn't very accurate. But those are small, tiny little gripes for
Sure.
sure. But it just some of them were either too big or too hard to read where to go a little bit. I
Yeah.
did get lost in a couple levels.
Oh, one of our frustrations we found was like we would clear the map and then it's like 98% completed. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure I completed. I did all the
Yeah,
checks, you
yeah.
know. It's that's what I found annoying. And I think that Jedi Fallen Order is apt. Let's talk about the things we didn't like. Kyle, You and I felt the exact same way about this. I was very skeptical about the dragon fights and the mech fights. I will say I I did not like the Drake fights in the slightest. It doesn't feel like Doom. I understand why those things are in the game. They want you to break up the monotony that is constantly just doing the quote unquote same thing over again. But honestly, I loved just simply how they were doing the here's one linear level, here's a hub world. Here's one linear level, here's a hub world. And that was just fine for me. I think those moments kind of ruined some of the vibes that I was getting out of the game.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, it felt just from like traversing the open world part, specifically in the dragon section. I did not love it
Yeah.
because it just, again, the map was hard to read in that one level, which had to replay 4 times to find the last secret, which I finally did. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it did not. There, it's not in a place where it's easily found,
Yeah.
just flying around. But the my least favorite things about both the mech and the dragon fight is we've just talked about how great the combat feels as Doom Guy, and in both of these on rails types of sections, it felt so simplified.
Yeah.
It was like a glorified QTE section, which is what I don't want in a Doom game.
Mhm.
So like if it happens once for the spectacle, absolutely, I'm okay with it. But every 2 levels being forced to do one or the other, um, just felt like it was too much, and it just
Yeah.
wasn't fun to me.
And for the mech fights, I feel like they get better as the game progresses. There are some in particular I really loved, but yeah, the Drake in particular, for me, those moments didn't feel like Doom. They felt like they were just trying to check a box of like, hey, what would marketing like? And for me, whenever I'm in the shoes of the Slayer, I want to be the Doom guy. Every time you take me out of his shoes and you put me in a mech, it's like I'm not here for Pacific Rim. I'm here for Doom guy. So those
Yeah,
moments,
and
luck,
they
go
play
for it.
like a high tech version of like Punch Out from NES.
Yeah,
It's very much just a you dodge and then you punch and you build up a meter and then you do a special move, and there's luckily they don't like last super long, but they're long enough to kind of really just bum me out.
yeah. It takes me out and they go, you know what? Let me go get a sandwich or something like that. So let me put the controller down. In other words, that said, those are my two biggest gripes in this game. I want to talk about the story real quick, then the music, the sights, and the sounds, and where we played this. So, the story, Kyle Stevenson, is for the Doom fans. If you
Sure.
loved 2016, you did not you did not skip a Grimoire card out there. You didn't skip a beat of that story. You're really into the Doom universe. This is going to be pretty darn rewarding for you. If you're like half of me and mostly Kyle,
Yeah.
where you just want to be Slayer dude and you want to just see him do badass shit, th- it feels like they rewarded both of you. Um,
Sure.
where the story goes at the end, I really dug. While a rather basic story, I like the context that it's giving me for where we are in the story of Doom.
Yeah, I am no master Doom lore person. Like
Yeah,
I kill demons. That's what I know about Doom. um
that's my jab.
it's yeah, it's my job. I do it well.
Yeah,
So the story in this, like there were I want to say maybe 1 or 2 moments I was like, okay, that's cool.
yeah,
Um but every other time when there is a cutscene, it feels like I what's the phrase from Breaking Bad?
mm,
A fugue state moment, like he's just doing things without knowing where he is. I
yeah,
feel there's such a gap and no connective tissue in between the story cinematics and like the levels in the game. Like
Sure.
you end a level and then the next level starts somewhere completely different. And I don't know how I got there. What happened in between? Like I don't there's nothing there to like combine it all.
Yes.
Where like in Eternal, I believe it again, it's been some years, but like you would go back to your ship in between
Yeah.
and you would like, unlock new areas of the ship. So it kind of felt more like you're
I'm
just setting up for
traveling
the
to these
next level
places.
and
Yeah.
traveling different things. This one, it just randomly was like, okay, cool, you're in a different place completely. And
Yeah.
I just felt a huge disconnect with that. So I didn't really like gravitate towards the story. But again, not here to cry and doom,
Right.
like I am with other emotional games. I'm here to just, have fun, bind the sticks, and kill some demons, which
Yeah.
is great. But if
And for
if you're there for a story, there is one there.
Yeah. And for me, if you're there just to see Doom Guy or the Slayer, whatever you're fancy, do really cool shit, that's there and you're gonna love it so much. It was there were like a few moments in particular where it's like, yep, that is gonna be an all-time moment. Uh, that said, the music, the sights, the sounds, talk to me about this music, Kyle. Where does Doom the Dark Ages land for you? You know, Doom and soundtracks ever since like I mean, really the original, but I really think 2016 Mick Gordon's soundtrack elevated it to a whole different just stratosphere.
Hmm.
Where is Doom the Dark Ages for you?
I would say out of the new trilogy, I would probably put it last.
Yeah.
It hits early on. I was like, yeah, okay, we're back, just because it's been a while.
Hmm.
But it felt lost in some big moments.
Hmm.
Like I could tell that it was great, but it didn't feel additive. It just felt like it was there in
Yeah.
certain moments. So like there's no like tracker moment that I felt was amplified by the music. It
Mhm.
was just kind of what we expect Doom to be, which is not bad, but it
Yeah.
just it didn't blow me away
Yeah.
throughout the story.
Because even for me, like Eternal still held its own versus the original track. But like, you know, what we were saying behind the scenes was like Doom the Dark Ages in terms of music definitely felt like Back to the Future 3, where it's like, listen, the prior two are just top tier. And while 3 is great, it just doesn't match up to the two that were instant classics. That said, I played this game on a PlayStation 5 Pro. I thought this game was gosh darn beautiful through and through. Um, where did you play this on?
My launch base PS4. I think there are some really pretty moments, like the level design, the art direction is stellar. I
Stellar.
I felt some character models felt older compared to like others.
Fair.
There's one character in particular where to me it looked like she was in a launch PS4 game.
Okay. And for me, I
I
didn't
don't know if
get
that was just because I'm not on a pro or
yeah,
whatnot, but it just didn't feel crazy. Like the rest of
yeah,
the game is crazy. The cinematics, sometimes some of the other people in it just didn't look up to the same level as others.
absolutely. For me, I didn't get any of that. PS5 Pro is stunning. It's beautiful. Um, it's almost like it's almost worth the money playing this. Um, and yeah, talk about art direction. Doom is Doom. I love the medieval vibes that they're sending out on, or sending us through here. If it looks beautiful, I love this. I love the look of this game so much. It very
I
much has its own identity amongst the trilogy, not just in combat, but
Mhm.
in look.
I'm a big fan of how they took classic Doom enemies
Mhm.
and changed them a little bit for this one.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that's a revenant. That looks cool. I like this version. Or is it the cacao demon?
Yep.
Cacao demon? I
Yeah.
love them in this one because they look so freaking cool. Yeah, like I shout out to the enemy design for sure. A lot of the set levels are fantastic and the guns look great.
Yep.
So yeah, art direction top notch for sure.
Top notch. Yeah. That's it, Kyle. Final thoughts, and where would you rate this on a scale from 1 to 10? And you could put in any 5, 7s, 8.25, whatever. Go for
Also, just to note, I've technically platinumed it. There's one trophy that has
it.
not
It is
popped.
glitched. Yeah.
Well, hopefully that will, be patched when the game is fully out.
Yep.
Um, but where I land on this one, I think it's a great game. It is super fun. It is the ultimate kind of popcorn type of video game where you just want to do cool shit and do a lot of damage and whatnot. On a scale, I'd probably give it like an 8.25.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
real
it,
technical.
yeah, it's very very good, but I prefer the other Doom games to
Okay.
this one, which are still excellent.
Yeah. It's for me, this has to be in terms of combat, and maybe I'm biased because I just come off of this one. This might be my favorite combat and weapons of Doom, but pacing, those dragon fights and the mech fights do take that speed away from you. Um, but then on the other hand, like the evolutions that I did love, like the hub worlds, and just yeah, the art direction is so powerful, and the enemies, oh my god. I don't want to spoil. It's really good. So that's it. I'm a bit higher than you. I would say I would rate this a 87 out of 10. Or out of 100, whatever. It's very scientific how we do it here.
Okay,
Very
so
scientific.
we're close. I guess my 8.25 in
Yeah.
those veins was like 83,
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere around there. We're close.
Yeah, it's a great game. Go out
Yeah.
there. I endorse it. Go out there, buy it. This is a real fun time. Real fun
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That said, y'all, that's been the Trophy Room reviews. Doom the Dark Ages again. Code provided by Bethesda, but thoughts are our own. With all that said, with all that out of the way, we couldn't do this without you over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. If you're new here, please, if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. It really does help us out. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you know what to do. And fans, we wouldn't be here without you. Thank you all so much. With all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, keep your wits about you, keep hunting, and keep playing PlayStation until it is done.
Rip and tear. Love you.